Good morning, Matt.
Hey, mate, how you doing?
I'm all right. You did that tomato advert just then. Good morning.
Hey, how you
Day.
doing?
Um,
It's when's your meal
when's your
day?
tomato day? I realised that this is not madness. Anyway, we have got a special podcast today. That is what I'm trying to say. This morning.
Well, have dear listener, how are we doing? Welcome to another episode of Don't Be Here podcast. But it's a Friday. It's a Friday episode, and we've got our next interview episode, and it's a really exciting one. We have got Jermaine and Glenn from Kindred Comics, who have created the first British black superhero, Extrman. And I tell you what, we met these guys briefly at MCM Comic Con. Lovely chaps, really great guys. And in all honesty, this is a fantastic comic. So it is a big deal to us, and it is a privilege to have them on our podcast this week. We'll be introducing them very soon and bring them onto the podcast. But mate, yeah, I'm excited. Are you excited?
I can't wait. So I reckon, without further ado,
let's just go in.
Another cock up. Let's roll those titles.
Let's dive in.
In the city of podcast, where the voices collide, there's a show that'll shake you up, take you for a ride. Hosted by Matt and Forrest, they're the masters of the game. Don't be a hero, they ain't here for the fame. With a mic in their hands, they're ready to explore, tackle the topics that others just ignore. From pop culture, the darkest of nights, these two hosts will keep you up with their insights. They'll bring the laughs and they'll bring the heat. There's no topic too taboo, nothing they'll delete. They'll challenge your thoughts, make you question each choice. Don't be a hero, it's time to raise your voice.
And here we are. We're joined by Jermaine and Glenn. Hello.
Hey guys, how you? You good?
We are all good. We're excited to have you on. Thanks so much for coming on the podcast. This is new for us, having creators of a brand new comic. But as a podcast that's looked at the whole of the Marvel universe and explored all kinds of superheroes, it's so fun to get a brand new British superhero and discuss about that. Over to you, Matt, with the first question. I'm sure you've got there.
Yeah, well, no, it's just kind of like a precursor for our dear listeners. So we met you guys at Comic-Con. What was it? Was it this May? Wasn't it? It was this May, wasn't it? Yeah. Have you guys been to like Comic-Con before? How many times have you been there with the stand?
We did October last year, and we did MegaCon as well, and then we did MCM again, and we just did London Film and Comic Convention as well. So we've done 4 so far, but it's all new to us, new world, and we used to go in as like customers and spending all our money.
Yeah.
Walking around with bags full of indie comics and other bits and bobs, and we even spent the Comic-Con before we started going around with the first issue on the iPad, just going, asking for advice and just speaking to all the people that have been doing it for years. Do you know what I mean? Just to get a bit of advice and feedback going into kind of a whole new industry, and then kind of hit the ground running when we did.
I think what's really awesome as well, I think with you guys and particularly with this product and with Extrman as well, it's building such a buzz, and I really appreciate your grind as well. Like, it's so good, and it's the fact that your visibility is out there and it's catching an audience and it's catching a buzz, and deservedly so as well. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I think the best way to start is to start at the beginning, isn't it, I suppose? So how did Extrman sort of come to be? What was the genesis?
Basically, during the wonderful pandemic, I had a lot of time on my hands, and I was just playing PlayStation, and as you already know, as most people should know, if they're interested in anything to do with the black culture, a lot of stuff was happening in America in regards to the police and black people and rioting and all the rest of it, a lot of atrocities. So I was affected by that. And, but obviously we're all the way over here. And something, you know, that Stanley often leads into is, you know, create the world outside your window. So whilst playing Miles Morales, ironically, one of his creations, or like obviously Spider-Man is his creation, I was just inspired to kind of have my own thing. And it's so crazy because during that time, both Glenn and I had iPads, and we were like just flushing out ideas of like new projects and stuff like that. He would send me images of him drawing, and I would send him obviously stuff. And um, I sent him like a profile of like two or three of the characters, like Journey and Ray, and like one of the villains, and he was like, "This is sick" or whatever. So he was very encouraging, and whilst he was working on his thing at the time or whatever, and it was just like, obviously Glenn can speak for his own creations at the time, but I'm not sure what he had planned to do with them. But now they're part of the Extraverse. So yeah, it's really crazy that he was just like, "Yeah, man, that's sick" or whatever. And I was, every time I'd bring him a character, he would have like this great feedback and be like, "Oh, maybe it should be this, blah 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 blah." So like after a couple months of doing it by myself, I was like, you know, the saying, if you want to go fast, go by yourself. If you want to go far, go further together, or something like that. You know the saying. You see, it's in the Celine Dion.
What a reference! I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to go far, go together, basically. So I just thought to myself, my friend is right there. It's always been on this superhero thing as well. So I just said, do you want to dive into this thing together? And he was just like, yeah, let's run it. And then I think we met like a month later, sat down and started sketching out. You know, I had done about 7 or 8 pages already, and I don't work. And we actually, to this day, we don't work really with a script and then didn't like, it's not the traditional way. It's the Marvel method actually is what we use. So it's like, everything's drawn first, and then we come up with a dialogue to fit the thing, to fit the narrative. Obviously, we have an overall arcing plan of what it is, but that was the first time, like when we met up, that was the first time when we actually started planning and being like, cool, let's sketch these pages out. I was just going off every day. I was just drawing a page, like, and I'm talking from like top to bottom, pencils, inks, colors, everything, and then figuring out the dialogue afterwards, just knowing what I wanted the page to relay. So after that, we kind of had some kind of like structure. And yeah, Glenn's great with structure. I'm just over here, just throwing it all out there.
Yeah.
You know,
Rain throws the ideas up, and I go, "Cool, we'll have that one, and that one."
Yeah.
Leave that there for later, and just kind of
So yeah, it's kind of like it just kind of happened really organically, and it's been such a journey, learning on the job. Like Glenn said, like we're so brand new, and like going to that Comic-Con, asking so many questions and showing the pages that we did have at the time, just on the iPad, because obviously we hadn't done a print run or anything like that. And everyone's feedback being amazing, like even people's feedback being rubbish, and us being so steadfast and being like, no, they're chatting rubbish, like,
Yeah.
like because we just knew that we were onto something, and we just wanted to sit in a space where we were just super passionate, like all the time, and super excited. Yeah, so that's basically how it started, and now we're here. I don't know, 3 years later, with a comic that's only been out, like I want to say 9 months or something like that, like officially.
Wow.
So yeah,
Amazing. It's a long old process, and I think one of the things that me and Matt, really gravitated towards the comic, Jermaine, was the design, was the drawings. So I know you've kind of you've talked about like obviously the origin of the comic itself, but even those kind of drawing skills that you've got, where's that come from? Is that a previous job, a previous?
nah, that's the only part that kind of blows me away, because I wasn't drawing. Anyone who, if you were to Google my name, you'd probably see music related stuff more than anything, because I've been in the music industry for like 20 years, doing my stuff, being signed and releasing music and whatever. So I hadn't really drawn. I'd used Photoshop and I did a lot of corporate stuff. Like I've worked on an artwork for like Lethal Bizzle and Krypton Conan and stuff like that, and Twist and Pulse as well. So like I used to do logos and graphic design and stuff like that. So I feel like in terms of like the stuff that really catches people's eye is um based on my graphic design knowledge and how to put colors together and what is going to stand out, and the reason why the cover is, laid out the way it is, and blah blah blah. Like I understand the theory when it comes to graphic design and how things should be laid out in order for something to be on a poster or a billboard or anything like that, for it to make a difference. So I feel like that definitely helps Extraman stand out to people. And it's always amazing when people walk past us and go, "Oh, extra man!" Like, because I know what's working in their head. They're like, I know, yeah, because you've seen the bright colors and you're seeing this, that, whatever, and you're seeing how he's standing very much, the juxtaposition, all the different things that I've learned on job as well. But yeah, like the process of the artwork, that was just a skill that was kind of sitting there because I hadn't been drawing, I'd been doing music. So I used to draw a lot when I was younger. Used to literally steal stacks of A4 paper and just take it home and just draw for hours. And yeah, lo and behold, pandemic was like, so what are you going to do since you can't go out and perform on these stages? And it was chilling there, and I just had to refine it and study off YouTube and other comics. And yeah, now we have our own comic book, and it's wild.
That's insane. And it's just for you, Glenn. Like, how did you and Jermaine obviously knew each other before the comic books, and can you tell us a bit about that? And by the sound of it, it will be to do with the music industry, and that's quite interesting.
Yeah, well, we go back, nearly like 2 decades of friendship, and it's weird because when we try and think back, I can't remember the exact reason or why we met, but we were within the dance and music industry. It's very kind of intertwined. The talent competitions, all of that sort of stuff was just very like, if you were trying to make it, you knew who else was trying to make it at the same time, and everyone was like, you share a passion for being on stage and performing and stuff like that. So we would dance to the music that Jermaine was making, and then that's how it was before social media. So you'd meet people at gigs and backstage, and it was those conversations. And then once we had a friendship, we were cinema buddies, going to watch whatever new film was coming out or whatever TV series or something happened. We'd call and chat about it and talk about all that sort of stuff. And yeah, it just developed over time. Again, like a lot of graphic design work that I needed, I'd always go to Jermaine and be like, I've made this, but I need it to look the real deal. So can you do that for us? The Twist and Pulse logo was created by Jermaine, the newest version that was on our tour posters, our tour design, all of that is all created by Jermaine. So there was already kind of a confidence in what he could do in that. So obviously once he started showing me kind of, comic book character designs and stuff, it's like, okay, whoa, where's this come from, and it was never just like a picture. It was like laid out with like the name and how all the info to do with the character and the bios and stuff. Everything just looked like, wow, this is already in a book, right? This is already a thing. So it just all made sense. And it's funny because he just said it and I didn't think about it, but because it was the pandemic, I was messing about on an iPad as well. I'm doing exactly the same thing. And I used to draw when I was a kid. If anyone had asked me growing up what I wanted to be, it was a comic book artist. And I didn't even go back to that point for years until we started talking about this. And I didn't have the eye and such of like knowing how to do body positions and that. But what I used to do is get my dad to draw like an outline of a person, but then I would design like the clothes and the outfit, and down the side I would just draw like different weapons. Do you know what I mean? So it'd all be flat and 2D, but like that's how my creativity got out, and then I'd color it all in. Do you know what I mean? The costume colors and stuff like that. But it'd just be stood. There wouldn't be any dynamic poses or anything like that. And I got folders and folders of pictures and stuff upstairs, and I was drawing characters on the iPad, and I sent one to Jermaine, and then he drew it in his style and sent it back. And I was like, whoa, it's like, it's like putting something into AI and then you see it come out as your actual picture and you just packed it. It was like that. Like, oh, here's something that I think is kind of cool. And then it actually came back as a real character. So yeah, I think once he started talking to me about, the thought of what it could be, I think that little seed that was there from when I was young just opened up again. And once the cat was out of the bag, that was it. I was just fully in.
I feel like that's
100%.
like one of the blessings with COVID, like particularly for those that like work in arts or like the creative industries and stuff, because being like, I mean, so me and Forrest work in the theatre industry, so we met when we were working in theatre together, and when COVID hit, that's when we were working together, and it was just seeing all of these creatives just being able to kind of just adapt. And also just being incredibly resilient around it as well, to refuse to be, we were told to go and retrain and find another job elsewhere.
Yeah.
But we were like, you know what, screw that. No, we're going to find other things to do and find other passions. And I think that's, seeing quite a few people that have, came up with projects that are through a direct address from COVID as well. So it's I mean, this is the thing, like, so what I love about this is that you can see the passion in it, like literally in terms of its visuals, the way it's written, the way that you market it as well. Like, it's all coming from a place of creative passion, and I think both me and Forrest, because it's funny you were saying, Glenn, how you were talking about going to cinemas and talking about films. It's literally how me and Forrest came up with the idea of the podcast. We were like talking about all the MCU and stuff. We're like, oh, why don't we just do this on a podcast? And I think when you have a creative partner like that kind of knows and gets you, and you create those synergies within each other, then you're off to the races, right? Because it's just a case of just going for it.
It has to be natural, and those things, it clicks when it is. Like, that was always going to be a part. It's a part of both of us separately. So the fact that our friendship was built on those conversations and them things. So like, now talking about a character and thinking, doesn't feel like a job. We need to figure out how to make this character work, because we're kind of just going, I think a character this. Oh yeah, but like, it just happens. The conversation happens. Next thing you know, you've flushed out this whole thing about somebody just through chatting, rather than like, oh, we've got a job to do and this is something we need to get to A and B to get to the next step. It doesn't ever feel like that when it comes to this. So that's why it's working, I think.
That's really cool. It's really cool. So you came up with the ideas, you're sort of spitfiring ideas, you've got now this kind of story. How does it become to be from that point? How do we start selling that? Because I'm really interested in how it goes into the stratosphere.
Honestly, that's the hardest part for me, because during this process I've realized that whilst we both are good at content creation and all that type of stuff or whatever, we obviously want to be this generation's Stan Lees, and for people to know how passionate we are about the art form and just the culture and stuff like that. However, that requires one to be very well read and very out there. And one thing I realized is that Stan Lee wasn't drawing, so that itself was like, I'm like, to be. It's like Todd McFarlane says, like every meeting is time away from the board. Is like, you're not drawing the thing that the world is going to continuously want and ask you about every single day. So it's been the most challenging thing, is having this thing have been 2 issues in, because we started working on this, obviously building. First issue wrapped, second issue, boom, like third issue, like we're in the thick of it now. So, and then we launch it, and then now the world wants it, and then it was like, okay, so now we have to be everywhere, and now we have to do the cons, and now blah, blah, blah. So it's like, and now we have to do the content creation, because this is 2024, and now it's like, I can't just draw all day,
Yeah.
It's like, that's been the most challenging thing. And it is a pandemic project, so I had so much time to flush things out and draw things and go back and be like, oh, I don't think they should say that. Oh, this color here or that, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's so funny, because the front cover didn't look like the front cover until, like, I don't know, 6 months before release. Journey's eye was looking all mad. It was like mostly blue. Like it's like you need this time to look back at things and be like, this is, you need that refresher. And we're in the rat race. We don't have time to have which I'm absolutely petrified because I'm such a perfectionist. Like, all honesty, it's the scariest part because I'm like, I can't spend 6 months over this word, over this dialogue, and making sure that people understand and the sentiment and the blah blah blah, blah like, and these colors and this. And if I go on YouTube and see how to draw this position, and I can't be like, it's already going to print. Like, it's a whole different thing in my head. My head is spinning with anxiety in regards to make sure that this is perfect and the bar remains where it is, because obviously you guys have seen the first issue, second issue, and now it's like third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, up to like the 50s, right? And everything needs to look like the first one or better. So if there's a weird eye in there, I'm just not gonna sleep.
I think there's also been a realization in time that, like, and some people understand it, but I think within indie comics as well, there is this like this feeling of like, it's a book and it's art form, and it's like reading and it's that, but it's like we're in 2024, and like to create something that you want to make an impact the way we do, it's about pop culture. It's about it being the backpack, because the kids that are wearing the backpacks and the lunchboxes and stuff, they haven't read the comic. Do you know what I mean? They might have seen the cartoon, or they might have picked up a toy or seen a poster, or like it comes to them in a different form. So we need to understand that we need to like make sure that we're hitting those places as well, because that's how we're making a bigger impact with this pop culture thing. Like we're creating music with it. We're creating like the videos that we're creating, we're trying to make them in a different way that, again, there's obviously loads of huge like indie things, but there hasn't been one that goes, oh, that's how they did it and they did it like that. As some of them have been around for 10 years before their big break happened, but their big break happened because the guy that owns it did something completely different, and they just found that separate way into it. And obviously now it's becoming more mainstream because we are getting more animated shows again and stuff, and that's starting to pick up again. But we're just realizing we're trying to tackle everything from every angle, and the time doesn't wait for anything. So, we were having 3 days a week sitting there chatting about characters and like colors, and now I'm making spreadsheets and sending emails. And Jermaine's going, I need to draw, and I'm like, well, I need you to be here because they've asked us to do this, and we're like, we're still figuring it out, if I'm honest.
Yeah, and the bigger you get, have you started to have the conversations of like long term, like we're gonna need more people, basically. We're gonna need more stuff.
Yeah. Like you guys are. I'm not gonna last. Like, like we're definitely gonna expand the team. I feel like, oh my gosh, just thinking about it is driving me nuts. But I want to do at least 50 issues, like in how we've been working. At the least, I think with 50 issues, we would have established we would have flushed out all our ideas, all the cool stuff, all the positions, all the gadgets, all the everything, right? All the relationships, all the all the egg. I was about to say eggplants. These eggs would be, explored and stuff like that. So that's cool. And I just discovered the other day that the Boys is huge now. That was only a 77 issue run.
Yeah, not massive at all. And
so like they've got the point across. Like we know enough about these characters in order to have a whole TV show of multiple seasons. So that's what we kind of plan to do. And then it's just like over time, by the time we get to the 10th issue, we would have obviously learned so much more and been doing this for however long and met other people and being like, cool, that person's a dope artist, or that person's a dope writer, or this person works in this capacity and this person can take this job on. And obviously we're going to, as we see more success, we're going to expand as a company. And yeah, I feel like I'm excited to have more hands on deck and more people who are enrolled in the success of a Black British superhero being at the forefront or being our Superman or whatever. It's so crazy that anytime I do something career wise, something is always out at the same time to kind of remind me where the bar is. Like it's now obviously in the age of like, Supercell and,
I was just about to mention that. Funnily enough, you just talked about that because we were talking. Obviously, we're talking about now and Supercell. I've just watched it. It's a new series on Netflix, and it's I don't know if you've seen it, Matt, but it is amazing show. And they've already gearing up for a second series. So I was just in this framework, Jermaine, I was saying that actually, hopefully that's prime time for something like Extraman to kind of, get that Netflix attention.
This is it. And now we have the new Captain America, and obviously Sam Wilson is Black Captain America now. So it's just like, it's so funny that the time is just kind of time and alignment are just working in our favor. So it's just important for us to kind of be like, cool, we just remember why we started doing this. Remember all the people that are affected. Remember every single person that comes up so excited to the table whenever they want an issue. Like, remember what's at the core of this thing. And that's honestly what keeps us going, because it's not easy just being two people that start a indie comic book company that want to, take on the likes of Image and Marvel and blah, blah, blah. It's just two of us. And thankfully our innate skills is what's gotten us this far. It's not a thing where we've had to outsource anything that you guys are seeing. So it's a blessing in that regard. Like we are able to have taken it this far, but yes, expansion is a must. Otherwise we are going to be like, we did a presentation for the launch party of Extraman, and it's the little thing that we display when you come to the table or whatever. Like, a lot of content is within that, yeah. And when I tell you, we were on the verge of leprosy, like 2 days before the launch, because like we were running ourselves into the ground, perfecting
I
keyframe.
can't remember the exact amount of hours, but it was into the 50 hours of not
Oh my god!
to the point where I think we had a 2-hour nap where I swapped to the couch for 2 hours, and then I woke up and that was it, because we had to be done. And the presentation was 18 minutes long, and we did the whole thing ourselves from scratch, and it was, and it wasn't just like a 1080 video. Basically, the room was 270-degree screens.
Wow.
So the screens went around the whole venue. But in order to create that was a whole project, because then we needed, this side literally itself was a 1080, and a 720 for one side. Then they had a giant screen, and then the same that side. So the amount of content we had to fill, the file sizes, when we went to transfer it to a hard drive, it came up like 3 days.
And bear in mind, neither of us have animated before, and neither of us have done a project like that before. So it's like, again, on the job, working to fulfill this thing, and we're locked in. There's no like, oh, maybe we should tell them we can maybe try to get a deposit back. We've told the Kickstarter things, like we've said that this is what's happening. Yeah. This is where everyone's money is going. Just to say that we're doing this different and doing this bigger, and it's going to be this exciting, and this is what is in store for the foreseeable future. So yeah, we're used to killing ourselves for this. That's how passionate we are.
I mean, as little as it is, it pays off, because the comic looks incredible, and even down to your website. And so it's obviously Kindred Comics is your wider enterprise, and it just every little meticulous detail, you can see the amount of work that goes into it, and it looks brilliant, really good.
And you've got the passion, right? Like it's all there. Like, you've got clear set plans. You know where it wants to go. You know where you want it in terms of expansion. And I think those are the key ingredients to sustain yourself as well, but also create a legacy, right? Because that's what it's for, right? So
and you can't be nervous with that. And I think some people we've asked have, like, sometimes I ask someone thinking they're going to be like, yeah, we want it to be as big as this, and we're going to take it, and they don't, and you're like, Why are you doing this then?
Yeah.
Like, let's make the thing. It's okay to say you want it to be the biggest superhero in the world. That's okay to want that. It doesn't mean you're saying everyone else is rubbish. It just means no, you have a clear goal and a focus.
Yeah, and I also feel like when you do set the bar a certain to a certain height, it requires a different version of yourself, and a lot of people aren't. Um, it takes bravery to literally do something um, completely brand new. You're stepping into a new space. We went to the cons asking complete strangers who have the thing that we essentially want to have. Be like, can you look at our comic book, please? You know, and it's like putting yourself in that position where it's potentially embarrassing, but it's like when you do have the passion, it helps you kind of get past that barrier
100%.
of, you know, oh, I think they're going to tell us that this is rubbish or that is rubbish. And like I said, like we went in there, the only thing we had between us are these pages that are written and drawn, and the confidence that we know what we're talking about based on our years and years of passion for Marvel movies and comic books and drawing ourselves. So we went in with bravery and courage and just like both of us being known for different things, and all of a sudden we've got everyone we know in this room looking at a comic book and it's just like we don't have peers in with what we do. Like there's no one else doing what we do, so therefore there's no blueprint. We're literally all we can do is look over yonder at America and be like, okay, this is what they're doing, this is what the bar is, this is what I've seen on Instagram to know that, oh, this venue exists, and this is what a visual presentation should look like, and this is the audio that would get me excited, and just leaning into those things and essentially becoming a child again to get you through, get you past that nervous anxiety of this may fail. You know, you just have to be that child and just go for it. That's the only thing I would say, is just become that child again.
That's really cool. With with our interview episodes, we do we've had quite a few actors on board. We've had a stunt double, we've had a body double as well, and we've always kind of asked the question of if you have any advice for any creatives out there that might be listening, that might have a project or might be wanting to get that certain audition, whatever it might be, particularly in your circumstance, if there's a creative project that they want to do and they haven't done it yet, what kind of advice would you give to them?
I think Jermaine said it to me recently. What's that 3 words, the right order? Be, have.
Oh, be, do, and have. So basically, you have to be the thing and do the thing that the person who's being it would do in order to have it. So, say for example, we obviously want to be the best in the business or whatever, but we have to, in order to do that, we have to, you know, read comic books. I have to be drawing every day. We have to write the best. We have to sit in the chair of that thing, be it, and the universe and everything. People like yourselves will respond to the being. You lot are seeing us being. You lot are seeing us at the table, you know, greeting the fans. Like we're being the thing. We don't have the movie yet. We don't have the series. We don't have, you know, the 50 issue run yet. But we're being from where we stand right now, and therefore we get to have this. We get to speak about all the things that we want to have, and we get to exist in the space. And it's just important to be, do, and have, more so than people think they need to have the money to potentially fund something, or before they can do something and then be the thing, you know. Whereas we were working on the iPads that my iPad was bought on finance. Do you get me? I need to draw right now. I need to be the thing right now and pay off later, but I need to be the artist right now, draw the thing, do it. And now we have a comic book. So it's just like, that's the equation that you need to always do. Regardless of the adversity or what you may see might be the
field, yeah. If it's dancing or whatever it is, or, you know, acting or whatever it is, it's practice your craft, be a dancer, go to class, do the thing. Like, then you might get seen at the class. Like, it all goes in that way, rather than like, oh, I'm not getting any work, so I don't have a job. but just go and put yourself in the space and be the thing. And yeah, like I think that's such a good thing. And when Jermaine said it to me, it stuck with me since that, for sure.
Yeah.
It's amazing advice. Next question would be that we're in the future. We've got that thing. You've done it. You've drove towards it. We've got the TV series or the film or both at the same time. Thursday Murder Club are doing both at the same time. So we've got both at the same time. Who are you? Who would you cast? Who do you want in Extrman?
We get asked this all the time, and we never know. We never know, because basically, I think for us is as well as it's like when the timing happens, I feel like the right person is there, because I don't necessarily know if it's like a person like ages ago. People were like Idris Elba, or like if Idris Elba was 10 years ago, it'd be a perfect thing, and you're like, I just think the guy's not there yet. I feel like the guy's about to blow. Like, and then when we're ready, he'll be in that perfect position to be the newest face of the newest superhero in the world, rather than saying, "Oh, Michael B. Jordan would be great." Obviously, I'm sure he'd be great, or whoever else that's already huge that can put a big stamp on it. But I think there's something personally. I feel like there's something about this new person that we don't potentially know being the face of Extraman, and that's who you know to be Extraman, and nothing else.
Yeah, and also I think people automatically forget that he's British. So there's a whole plethora of Americans that have the look, but unless they can bang that British accent like authentically, like he's not going to get the job, because it just has to come from a very real place. And so I personally feel like in terms of having a movie, I have a clearer idea of animation and the voices rather than the actual physicality of the people. Like it's way easier to envision, oh, that person's voice would be perfect for a Journey, or that person's voice would be perfect for Ray. Like if that, I don't know what kind of contract Daniel Kaluuya's under, but he would be great as Ray. I think. Journey is like a Coco Jones, or Kiki Palmer, that type of vibe potentially. Like it's like it's more easier to envision those type of people because we watch cartoons as well a lot, animated stuff, and it's just easier for the transformation to happen. But to find that physical person that embodies what you've been drawing for 3 years, that's going to be, I'm letting you guys know now, the hardest thing for me. And they're going to walk into that audition room, and I'm like,
I can't wait for that casting process, just to walk in and to have that moment when you see Ray and you go, wow, that moment, I can't wait for the goosebumps to be like,
it's not going to be easy. I'm going to be there like, oh, his eyebrows aren't thick enough, sorry.
I want it to feel like, you talk of the Tom Holland and that walking into the Spider-Man thing, or getting that selfie. Oh my God, we found Peter Parker. Like that feeling must be incredible when it happens, and it will happen. So
and I tell you what, going backwards a bit, the Supercell coming out has definitely eased that job, because there are some fab British actors in that that we haven't necessarily seen, certainly on the screen on Netflix, and there's some brilliant talent in it. I'm well excited for what's ahead for it, man, for sure. Which I think kind of leans into me and Matt's next question, which is around: is there going to be a universe? Is there an extraverse? And have you started working on it? Loving it.
We have a Bible already, and it's actually scary, because I think last time I counted there was like 152 characters.
Oh wow!
Wow.
We've got heroes and villains and teams and outer planetary missions, and there's all sorts of stuff. And the arcs are set in, so we understand. We understand when we're at the Captain America First Avengers style, and then we know where our Avengers Endgame is. We know what that arc of, and what it takes for the stakes to be there when we get there. Do you know what I mean? Like how to introduce each villain, how to, you know, we don't want to, you know, some things go from, here's a superhero, and the next thing he can destroy a planet with a punch, and you're like, okay, where do we go now? Like we like the, you know, we're on the ground with the crime, and we make our way up to these villains, bring in new and unique ways of causing trouble, and how that is handled by the characters that we have. And, you know, not just going, we need these 5 types of superheroes because everyone else has them, trying to create heroes in ways that we want to see them still, so everyone still is like unique to our universe and feels like it's authentic, and how they come about within the story, rather than like, we need another hero, because everyone loves a roster. You know, it's all good. Like, I think that's, you know, creating the iconic characters. It's like what slightly segueing sideways, but I said to Jermaine, one of my like dream things is like a game like Mortal Kombat. When you get a download pack, you know who's iconic, because you'll get like Terminator, and then you get like Omni-Man. It's like, can you imagine Extrman is a downloader pack onto a game that's been around for that many years? That's when you know your character stands out from the rest. It's like, that's the same sort of thing. We're trying to make sure that we're not just throwing in characters because we need loads of costumes and suits and stuff like that. So the Extraverse is there, and you will not know or understand just yet how many Easter eggs of things are already in the issues, especially issue 1.
Wow.
There's
I
some
really,
stuff
That's amazing.
even just the
That's so
alien
cool.
language that's in there. That alien language is real. That is already written out. All those phrases mean stuff. So at some point you'll be able to go back and reread and read from the alien language and decipher all the text and know what's been said.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But it sounds like you two just aren't working enough for this comic.
It's a lot.
More hours needed.
That's like when we say, it's only been out 9 months, and then we say, you know, we've been working on it 3 years, and people are like, well, it's only been out 9 months. It's like, yeah, we spent 2 years building the world and like the universe and the laws, and what does a car look like? How does a car run in? Because we're based in like 2075, so we're so far into the future that things are going to be different. You know, laws have changed. Maybe some things haven't changed. Maybe some things have, and they've realized they've changed for the worse, so they've gone back. So we've had to figure all of that out, as well as figuring out kind of, you know, characters, companies and businesses. And, you know, going back to designing again, you know, we've got firefighters in it that are in the future, but they've got a logo and an emblem. But imagine creating a logo for a new company is a job in itself. But every company's got their own logo. So Jermaine's here creating logos that just go on a tiny little badge on a character. But obviously when the movies and stuff are happening, all that is costumes and making sure the police uniform, what does a police uniform look like? We could have made it look obvious and exactly the same as every other police. But instead, if you see a cosplayer dressed as a policeman from the Extraverse, you'll know it's from ours, because the costume is so specific and designed in a way that you go, I know exactly what that is. You know, there's very much certain animes that, like, I haven't got a clue. It's got blue hair, and you're like, I couldn't tell you what anime that's from. But then you see someone walk through dressed as a Super Saiyan, and you're like, I know that's from Dragon Ball Z. Like, the look is there, the styling, the hairstyle, all of that stuff. So we're trying to make sure that the world is built like that, the buildings, you know, all those different things. So it was a process, man. it was a process, but one of the most fun parts.
Yeah, now we don't have time to do it anymore. So
so now it's console weekend. So
from here, guys.
Well, like, if you want to extend it to like Extraverse on stage, Extraman on stage, just let us know. We'll get it all produced and stuff. It's all fine. Don't worry.
Well,
This is a little extra thing if you want.
When we were doing lockdown, I was writing a musical, and I was writing a superhero musical.
Oh, cool.
So
wow.
again, the things were just, they were all linking from before we'd even got here. So
it's super exciting. Super exciting.
In 10 years' time, you never know.
Nice. Well, okay. So I think we've come up to a perfect point now where, dear listener, if you're listening right now, we've heard an amazing story about how Extraman's come to be. Now, you're going to go and buy these comics. You're going to do it. So before you press buy on these comics, guys, could you give us a little non-spoilery kind of rundown of the story of issue 1, maybe?
Well, Glenn, you can do the table pitch, and then I'll go off of that.
Okay, cool. So Raymond Trust is an ex-Olympic gold medalist turned superhero, but after being shot, loses his ability to walk and their 8-year-old son. But his beautiful wife is a genius robotics engineer, and she creates a super suit out of alien technology called the Extra, the exoskeletal xenomorphic tactical reconnaissance armor, and he becomes Extraman.
Yeah,
So
and
that's
the
our little table.
story.
That's our elevator pitch.
I love that.
We've got kind of got it down. That's the only
Yeah,
thing.
you got that down.
Yeah, and it's set 6 months into Raymond's superhero career. Journey has a whole bunch of stuff. Obviously, they're coming off the back of their son being killed. They're already huge celebrities. He's a huge Olympic gold medalist, like Glenn said, in gymnastics. He's like considered one of the greatest, if not the greatest. And she's essentially the smartest woman on the earth. So it's like both of their worlds, different worlds coming together and them dealing with this tragedy, them falling in love, them basically just wanting to be happy in that love and something crazy happening in their life and the fruits of their love being taken away from them. Um, and they don't have any control. The only control that they do have is over what they can do now. And she's doing all that she can do, all the resources that she has, obviously, hence the alien technology. She's going into all the secret realms of government related anything in order for them to have a heads up on anything that's going on. She's able to tap into CCTV. She has control over the robots in the city. She's CEO of the of Trust Robotics, which is essentially Apple. So she has full dominance over the technology of New Brightwood, and he is obviously one of the best to ever do it in the realm of gymnastics. So he now has this alien suit on his back. So he's able to do incredible things that no other person, even if they were wearing it, would be able to do. So both of them together are trying to now tackle crime and uh, stop other children from being, you know, uh, taken out and just making New Brightwood a better place to be based on their experience. Obviously, I don't want to give away too many spoilers and stuff like that, but yeah, through it's like the whole Batman thing. Now that they've taken it to that level, there's going to be people wanting to oppose that. So then you do have the supervillains and the science-based this, that, whatever, and this person is seeing her do all these amazing things with technology, and obviously it's 2075. So we're talking AI and we're talking cyborgs and we're talking, you know, science experiments going wrong, you know, like in the classic comic book form. So yeah, it's a lot to flush out and it's also a lot to create from scratch. Like Glenn said, it's a new world and it's set in the future, but you know, we get to create um, companies and rules and sanctions and how things work now based on the future. So it's exciting. It's an exciting world to expand on because we can be like, oh, this is how this works now. In and it might even be in this what do they call it in this state of New Brightwood. It might not even be a rule that's um, expanded throughout America in the future. New Brightwood in our story is the first city to embrace robotics as something within, you know, dentistry, doctors, and things that are helping you basically walk across the street. Like, you know, you have cab drivers. Like robotics has been fully embraced. So that's also exciting, and it's the reason why we always have to send each other like, have you seen this that's happening in Japan, this TikTok video, like this is the future. Like we try and be on job
What
when
is
it
to
comes
come?
to,
Yeah.
you know, what is to come. So yeah, it's that's the extraverse, like the beginning of it. And within this book you'll like Glenn said, you'll see Easter eggs and you'll see what the future
Yeah.
is hopefully going to be.
It's
No,
amazing. I mean, forget about the film. I'm waiting for the PlayStation 8 game of it because I'll be there day one.
trust me.
Can't
And
wait.
the thing is, like, you know, we always say like we're trying to make the most epic, cool, like exciting superhero story. But at the heart of it, you know, you're dealing with someone who has lost the ability to walk, and their whole character and who they were was built on being an Olympic gold medalist, and their athleticism and how Raymond um, became what he become, and then that's been taken away from him. We're now juggling with how he feels now being in the chair and how he's dealing with the loss of like who he feels he was as a person, but knowing that he still gets to do it when he's in the suit, but no one else knows that. So there's the moments where, you know, where he's in the chair and something might be happening that he knows that he could help, but because no one knows that he's Extraman, he's tackling this new thing now and trying to figure out who he is with his wife, you know, and they're going through the normal things of someone that's, you know, disabled now and has like day-to-day troubles where the wheelchair doesn't fit through a certain door to get into a building, like very simple things, you know, whether it be them, you know, out at a restaurant and banging into a table, and it just causing that frustration and how he deals with that as a person as well. So there's a very like deep through line going with it as well. So we made sure that the heart is there just as much as all the fun superhero stuff. So you feel super connected to the characters as you read, and how he learns to deal with that, and how they do that together, which again is so important for our story, that there's a married couple a strong married couple, you know, and how they support each other through such a trauma and such a big change in life, because people are going through stuff every day. Do you know what I mean? So we want things that people can, you know, relate to and resonates with more than just, you know, superhero stuff.
That's really cool, because it's proper real as well. Like,
and the thing that we want to be kind of at the forefront is that although it is Extraman, obviously he's the face of the operation or whatever. There wouldn't be an Extraman without her, and I think like that's the main ingredient that kind of differentiates it from, you know, Exo-Man of War or Blue Beetle or anything like that. It's just like there's never really been a comic book where the wife is just as prominent as the lead guy or the guy that's on the front of the comic, or even though, you know, the Fantastic Four is, you know, the world's first family, comic books first family or whatever. It's like Sue definitely plays second fiddle at times to Reed, but like you'll see within our book that she's out here, like he can't really. There's times when he doesn't even know where to go. Even though all the hard information is right there, like what's the best way to tackle this? She's right there in his ear saying, do this or whatever, go this way. The quickest route is this or whatever, like use your blah, 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 what I gave you. You know, so she's definitely right there as well. And she's also dealing with her own stuff, you know, whilst he's now living a double life of being the superhero with all these amazing superpowers that have the potential to be, you know, I won't spoil it for you, but and being someone who's disabled, who also has to be keep up appearances, and also has to be like, okay, so what's Raymond Trust doing now that he got shot and it's public view and blah blah blah, like what is he doing? And he obviously leans into his philanthropy and just kind of being a spokesperson for people who have gone from this to this. She's also dealing with, well, my son got taken away. I need to make steps technology wise and do things whilst also being in the base in my husband's ear while he's doing this mission. Like she's got her own stuff, you know, she's the CEO of the world's biggest corporation, trillionaire corporation, whilst being a vigilante essentially, you know, so she's dealing with her own stuff and interesting. I think it'll be interesting for people to see how they both deal with their things, because she also has to be, when he's dealing with his stuff in terms of not his mobility and stuff like that, she also has to make sure that she is that light and that hope and that bit of and that emotional comic relief sometimes, you know. And I feel like we're tackling without experiencing those things personally. We're having to be like, would she say that? Is this a moment to make a joke? Is this a moment to be serious? Like all these types of things we're really thinking about, just so people who are reading it understand that we are trying to approach these things sensitively and appropriately, and not waste opportunities to really touch the hearts of people that and our readers. So yeah.
It's me. So me and Forrest, speak about this a lot in terms of like MCU, DC, even the boys that we're currently reviewing as well. Like, we find the best superheroes are the superheroes that have very human stories, like very real things that are happening aside from the superhero stuff, but like something that's so deeply inherently human and relatable is where you can find the connection to an audience. So like, I mean, so I've read the first one, can't wait to read the second one. Do we know when the third one's coming out?
The third one's coming out potentially late August.
Ooh.
But that's a exclusive for you guys, because it might come out November 1st.
The idea is next con is October, and we're aiming to it be on the table for then.
Oh,
no matter
amazing.
what. So it could be out online before that and be selling before, but for the con, that aim is to have it there. So yeah, people can move on with the story. But yeah, I can't wait to see. I want to know what you guys think of issue 2.
Oh, I can't wait.
It's crazy.
Brilliant. Fantastic. We might have to do a separate podcast where we talk through the issues.
I think we will, mate.
So that'll be nice. We'll do
Yeah.
Be awesome.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, Jermaine, and thank you so much, Glenn, for coming along, speaking to us. And yeah, it just sounds fantastic. I can't wait. I can't wait for issue 3, issue 4, issue 555 of the Extraverse. And yeah, we will definitely have you on again as things happen and different, if that film's on the way, come along and speak to us all about it. It'd be great.
Yeah. Where can we find you guys? Where can we get the dear listeners to buy issue 1 and 2?
kindredcomics.co.uk. And obviously we are online separately, but all the links and social handles and stuff like that can be found via the website. So that's kindredcomics.co.uk, and it's Extrman on Instagram. And that's basically it. I just want to say thank you to you guys for allowing us to talk so passionately about this thing that we've been working on for so long, and just giving us the opportunity to just express ourselves, and thank you for reading it. You guys are now part of history. You guys are the first people that we've done a podcast with, like,
first podcast.
Oh, nice.
It's exciting to look back on this, isn't it?
Yeah. When we had the premiere and stuff like that, remember when we did the podcast?
Be awesome.
It's gonna be crazy. Thank you guys for being a part of comic book history, man.
No, I can't wait. All the best with it. You guys are so talented. The passion is there. The drive is there. So we can't wait to see it grow.
Thanks, guys. Love that. Thank you so much. Take care. Yeah.
All right. Take care.
Wow.
Yeah.
What an amazing chat with two insanely talented individuals. It's just, and it's an incredible comic, incredible company they've got in Kindred Comics. Don't know about you, Matt, but I'm super excited for the future.
So excited to see them. They're just killing it. They're absolutely killing it. So yeah, I mean, it was such a joy having them on. So thank you, Jermaine. Thank you, Glenn, joining us. Dear listener, I urge you all to go and get these issues. Okay, get it already. Get 1 and 2. I'm about to go and read number 2. I just can't wait to see how far where it all go for them. All the success to them. All the power to them. Yeah, mate. What's going on next? What are we doing now? I feel like we're doing loads of things.
We're doing all kinds of things. We've got loads going on the go. But before, whilst we're talking about that, if you also are creating a comic, if you are creating whatever you are, if you're a creative in the field, doing anything you would like to feature on our podcast, give us an email, don'tbeaheropodcast@gmail.com, or just message us on Instagram. Let us know what you're doing, because we love to have as many creatives, as many people in the field as possible, who would just like to talk about whatever projects they're working on. So do get in touch. But yes, Matt, we've got some exciting things on the go, haven't we?
We blooming well have. I mean, we got the boys still kind of wrapping up as we go. We've got Deadpool and Wolverine on the absolute horizon. Can you believe it? We're nearly there already. Ugh.
I must. The first podcast where we mentioned that must have been over a year ago. And now we're like when we've been and that's been the target, everyone. We've been waiting for this moment to lift the MCU up, and we're finally there. God. And both of us are on holiday the minute it comes out, so we have absolutely nailed that.
We're gonna be we're gonna have to like avoid the internet for like a week. I don't know how we're gonna do it, but we will figure it out, dear listener. We will get a review out. We will get instant reactions. We've got other interviews laid out coming out in the future, dear listener. We won't reveal what that is just yet, but like Forrest is kind of jumping on that as well. Like again, if you are an actor, an extra, an essay artist, a behind-the-scenes camera person that's worked on any superhero project ever, we want you on this podcast because that is what we love doing these interview episodes. They're an absolute joy. So many interesting stories, so many interesting perspectives, and it's all creative. And it's just it's bloody wonderful, isn't it? I can't find the words. It's bloody wonderful.
Bloody wonderful. We've got some exclusive movie reviews coming up. Very excited. So to follow The Exorcism, was already out in the cinemas, but we have got some top-notch movies thanks to Stripe Media that we've got to watch and we'll be reviewing so that we can tell you whether it's worth going out and seeing. Oh, yeah. They're coming up over the next month, so very excited. Lots of stuff on the go, but most importantly, you would have, by the time you hear this, you would have heard The Boys episode 7 review, and next Wednesday will be the final episode.
The finale. Yeah.
The finale. Does Butcher die? Who knows? Who knows? We'll see.
We will see.
But Tara, Matt, it's been a pleasure.
It's been a joy. You take care.
I'll see you next time, sweet cheeks.
All right.
Ta-ra.